Hi, thanks for checking out our channel. This is going to be a how-to video on how to repair a Gallagher M800. This is a old style unit, old style 800. They don't make this version anymore. They make a newer version now. This unit was made, the BEV3 was the equivalent early on, back in the mid-late 80s. It's a Gallagher Snell BEV3, BEV3, and then sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, they changed over to this sticker name, Gallagher M800, but the old BEV3s are the same exact gut, same case, just different sticker on the outside. And so this is a M800. This particular unit is a 2002 model. So based on today's date, this is a 17-year-old unit. The guy's note says won't hold a short charge, so we'll see what that means. As we get into this unit and go through the whole repair, if you've got a Gallagher fence charger, that needs worked on, we work on a lot of Gallagher stuff, but we work on all brands out there, no matter how old or how new. We work on all that stuff. Parmac and Zariba and Speedrite and everything else out there. But go to our website, it's fencerfixer.com. Well, I think I have a link down there in the description area as you can click on, or copy and paste or something like that. And also, subscribe to our channel and ask us questions and stuff. Check out a lot of our other videos. We got a handful of them out there on different stuff, different units we worked on. Okay, so to get this unit apart, this one had these funny screws on the front. The guy had replaced, pulled the screws out of it or whatever, put those on there. But if lay it face down, turn it to where your power cord and your knobs are pointing to the right. And you need just two regular old size flat screwdrivers. And there's this little slot right up here. That little area there. Doesn't matter which one you used, but go on top of the black tab, about dead center of that slot, and lift up on your handle. So lift up, which points your tip down, pushes this tab down. It's kind of an overlapping tab on this orange area. So then take another screwdriver and go right here. And you just want to push the black section away from the orange section. And then it should slide a little bit. And then once it does, just grab the orange and grab the black right here and separate them. And this has got some goody stuff inside. Some spider webs and some dead flies. Alright, so that's what the inside looks like. This is your main board. You can see it's all out of place, but it's just bent. We can straighten out those tabs down here and get that lined up better. Got your main input module, circuit board, whatever you want to call it, sitting right here. You got your main discharge capacitor there. You got your output VDR board, they call it. This is for your voltage divider for your ground, half power, full power. Plus it also has these little things on here. This is all for lightning protection on the fence and ground side. And then underneath this, right there, that white block there, that's your transformer. So it spikes the voltage up to go to your fence and ground terminals through this board here. So what I want to do first, I want to pull this board out just because I want to get it straightened out first. So I want to pull this board, so just, if you got this thing still on, sometimes you think it real brittle and it'll break, but this, pull it away from the board and push down towards your countertop, and that will lift that board up. And why this board was crooked in there was because these 5 tabs here were bent. So we're just going to straighten them out and make sure that these are straight. Alright, his note said won't hold a short charge, so let's see what it does just by, oops, that tab there is bent. So we'll straighten that out. Alright, I'm going to get lined up. I'm just going to tap on it on the edges here. That's good. Gallagher makes pretty thick circuit boards. They don't use cheap stuff, so even on their old ones, so you can smack around a little bit. As long as you just hit the edge of the board where there's no tracking, you're fine. So let's plug it in and see what it does. Now what it should do, this light should come on green. It's a power light. And this light here should be should flash red with every pulse. And it should click like every 1.5 seconds. Well, so far so good. It sounds a little quick. Let's put a fence tester on there. We'll see what it does. This should read probably 6,000 to 7,000 volts. A little over 7. I'm going to get a load and put on there. Now this should go down. Let me unplug it for a second. This should go from, when I put this 500 ohm load, this is just a, trying to hook up my tester here where I can get onto it. When I put this load on there, this is a 500 ohm load. This is a standard load that most brands use for stress test and different things. This should go from about 7 to about 4.5 to 5. So that tested there shows about 7.5. So put the load across here and it should drop down around 5. That looks good. Let's do a ground test. Put it to the ground terminal. There's our problem. Alright, what we've got is a bad transformer in it, but it is clicking a little fast. I'm going to check that capacitor out. What I did with this ground test, I call it, is you was plugged into an AC outlet, and you need to run a jumper wire on the other outlet from your ground hole, which is a round hole under outlet. Put a screwdriver in that hole. I've got it rigged up a certain way, but basically you can do this. Put a screwdriver in the round hole of your other outlet, which is your ground. Run a jumper wire from there around that shaft of screwdriver and touch your green ground terminal. If what it should do, it shouldn't do that. See how the red light went out and it sounds a little different? The clicking sounds different. What it's doing is there's an internal short in that winding of the transformer, and what it should have done was just still click red and not change. And you look, the voltage dropped way down. So we've got a bad transformer to start, but I want to check this capacitor out too while we got it, because it looks fine, a little dirty, but looks to be probably original. To get this capacitor out of there, there's this little strap going over this thing. Grab down inside here and squeeze with a pair of needles, squeeze real hard and push against this capacitor like a wedge or a pivot point, pry point, and that will pry that strap out of there. This capacitor is a 40 microfarad or 40 UF at 900 volt DC. So that's its capacity of what it can handle. So we're going to test this capacitor. If you don't know how to test capacitors, or you're not sure, if you need a multimeter, not particularly this one, but you need to find your meter and make sure it's got that symbol right there, a little yellow one right above my finger. That's the symbol for a capacitor. If your meter doesn't have that, you can't test capacitors correctly or accurately. So we're going to put, there's no polarity to it, so we're going to go across the two top tabs, and it should read right around 40. Sit still, you stupid thing. Oops. Reading 27.5. So it's reading about half, well, not about, it's reading about 60% of what it should. So we are going to go ahead and change out the capacitor. That won't solve our issue with the transformer, but it's going to solve the faster pulse that it's got. Now we got to get that transformer out of there, so I'm going to go ahead. You need to remove this board, get it out of the way, and then you need to remove this board here and get it out of the way. So to get it out of the way, there's this black tab right there. Pull it towards you, away from that board. Get a flat screwdriver next to it and get it underneath that little board, and just kind of pry up, and that board will pop up. And then you need to pry it away from it's got the 3 sleeves on there that plug into your fence and ground terminals. I always get up in the edge here between the board and this black base here, and just kind of, get over there. Kind of pry it away, and just work it out of there. Once you get a little bit, it usually pops right out. It's a little dirty, but I think that's just cosmetic. Some corrosion on there, but I think that's fine. There's a little, I think that's cosmetic, but we'll ohm out that tracking and make sure it beeps and that there's, yeah, it's just cosmetic. Okay, so this board's fine. Well, at the moment it's fine. I think it's good. Alright, so we're going to remove this transformer. So there's 2 wires on the bottom side of the transformer. This has got brown and red. Sometimes they're red and black, but it doesn't really matter what color they are as long as you put your wires back in the right spot. But the transformer that is in here, Gallagher no longer makes. But we have transformers for these units. Then you got to get this clamp off there. I'm probably going to make this video a 2-part video because this is going to take a little time. I don't want to make a real long one. So I'll do probably a part 1 and a part 2. So this will be part 1. And so to get this clamp off there, you've got to get behind that tab there and kind of pry it away. And get over here where it comes through the case and kind of just push it in, and it should pull right out. Sometimes these break or they get real brittle. It should be kind of flexible. Should bend a little bit, but should be pretty stiff. And so that one's good. Plus you can sometimes tell by how they feel if they're going to be worth using again or they need to be replaced. And then pull that ground wire off, and then just put these stack of plates, just kind of push them off to the side. And then you've got to get this transformer out of here. And you just got to push it away and off. Sometimes these come out easy, and sometimes they fight you. And there's tricks of getting them out that fight you. And it has these metal plates all around it. You got to get those off. Sometimes they stay stuck in the case. Sometimes they get stuck in this unit. So we'll see if we can just press them out of there. Nope, doesn't want to come out. So we're just going to have to hold it, and you just need to take a screwdriver and just bang the heck out of them to get them out of there. Because they've been in there for, 15 some years. Once you get some of them to come out, usually all fall out, or at least, come on, almost there. Let's see if we can just grab some with the pliers and wiggle them out the rest of the way. There we go. They got a few out, now they should all just fall out. Or pull out. You want to you're going to have to keep all these. You may use all of them, may use 95% of them. Depends on how the new transformer goes in. But there's the burn hole right there. That's where the problem's at in the winding of the transformer. This probably didn't get hit by lightning. Probably just age. It's 17 years old, so things don't last forever. But that's what's wrong with it. This part here. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this transformer with a new one. And we're going to go ahead while we're in there replace this capacitor with a new one, because might as well, because this capacitor, like I said, it's only reading about 60% of what it should. So it probably would be fine to keep in there. If you're in a bind, just keep it in there. I guess if I would say if it's reading 30 or higher, it's probably good enough to use it to get the pointer across to the fence for the animals to feel it. But if it's reading less than 30, it's not going to get any better, so you might as well replace it. And if you need any parts for these things, we have new parts and rebuilt parts for boards and capacitors and transformers. They don't make the transformer anymore by Gallagher. We have some made for this unit. So this unit should probably never be thrown away because we can rebuild all the all the boards can be fixed or replaced. We don't stock a lot of new main boards. We stock new boards of these, but we repair these boards occasionally when they're not too far gone. We stock new capacitors, and we stock new replacement transformers for this. So, well, I'm gonna stop this video. I'll have a link or something down below for part 2. So if you want to continue on finishing this repair, just click on this part 2, and we'll continue on.